Good afternoon. It's the appointed time. I call to order the meeting of the panel on security. Agenda item 1, information papers issued since the last meeting. Since the last meeting, there have been 2 information papers issued to members. The first one is a joint letter from Ms. Joephy Chen and Mr. Bill Tang requesting the panel to discuss issues relating to the handling of fire prevention, firefighting and rescue work in old buildings by the Fire Services Department. I know members are concerned about this topic, so I've asked the relevant departments to submit a written reply to the joint letter mentioned above. Last December, our panel had a formal discussion about this topic. You may be aware that the Secretary has, in an open occasion, mentioned that because of the fire incident, the Secretary has promised openly that in Q2 this year, the amendment to the Fire Safety Buildings Ordinance will be discussed in the Legislative Council. I've looked at our agenda and I don't think we have enough time to discuss this. While the amendment to the ordinance will be introduced to the LegCo, I guess we can have a discussion on this together with the amendment in one go. Agenda item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. Please refer to the list of outstanding items for discussion. The next meeting will be held at 2:30 p.m. on the 4th of June. We will discuss 2 items. First, expansion of sexual conviction record check scheme. Second, drug situation in Hong Kong in 2023 and anti-drug efforts by the government. These are the 2 items that we will discuss. They are close to the heart of our members, and members requested to discuss these 2 topics before. Any objection? No? All right. Agenda item 3, funding proposals for information technology projects of the Hong Kong Police Force. Let me first invite the relevant government officials to join us. I would like to remind members that this is a funding proposal according to Rule 83A of the Rules of Procedure. If you have any direct or indirect pecuniary interest in relation to the item we are going to discuss, you have to disclose the nature of such interest before you speak. We have with us Mr. Chris Tang, Secretary for Security, Mr. Ronnie Chen, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Ms. Sandy Chen, Principal Assistant Secretary, Mr. Frankie Fong, Chief Systems Manager from the Police Force, as well as Mr. Tony Ho, Chief Superintendent of Police. I'll first ask the government officials to walk us through the paper before I open the floor to members for questions. If you'd like to ask questions, please press the button to speak. Secretary, ready when you are. Chairman, members, good afternoon. There are 2 IT projects that we're going to discuss today. They are the centralized digital image platform as well as the 3rd generation personnel information communal system. I would like to ask member support for the funding proposals. When we had a discussion about digital policing, I have briefed members on the 2 systems. Members raised valuable comments during the previous panel meeting discussion. This includes incorporating considerations of national security when we procure the relevant systems. We have taken into consideration the views and we have received the tender proposals. The cost for the 2 systems have dropped compared to the cost proposed. For CDIP, there is a drop from $390 million to around $359 million. down 8% approximately. For PIX3, the cost has dropped from $190 million to around $142 million, down by 25%, which is a drop of $48 million. The parallel tendering exercise allows a more accurate reflection of the market situation, and it helps increase the cost control effectiveness. I'd like to thank members for their support to the two systems. On the latest progress of the two systems, first on CDIP, the new CDIP is used for storing, processing, retrieving, and sharing digital image of intelligence value. Frontline officers as well as crime officers, a lot of times they have to collect videos when they conduct investigations. Currently, all collected videos are duplicated and stored in DVDs when needed. They may be used as court exhibits. However, this type of operation is outdated. We have to move with times. Duplication of DVDs takes a long time. To duplicate a 4 GB video, it takes half an hour. Oftentimes, we need multiple DVDs in order to fully duplicate a long video. Also, officers will have to station at the duplication station in order to monitor the duplication process. Also, there are high-definition videos nowadays, and it requires a lot of data capacity. For instance, in 2023, on average, the data capacity processed is 3 times of that of 2018. Currently, there are video teams monitoring the DVDs, and they are scattered in different regions. If one team requires the DVD may have to be sent from one office to another office. There is a limited lifespan to each DVD. They have to be renewed every 5 years. And this enhances the risk of loss of DVDs and damage of DVDs. With the CDIP system, we no longer have to duplicate DVDs. And with increased or enhanced infrastructure, it only requires about 1 minute to duplicate a DVD. And it makes it easier for us to retrieve DVDs. Also, on the platform, we can view all videos. There are also other tracking functions on the platform to record the usage trail of personnel using the platform. This prevents the loss of data due to the loss of DVDs. And this helps enhance data security. This also helps save manpower. Every year we'll be able to save about $88 million. Deducting the recurrent expenditure of $40 million per year, actual amount of savings will be $48 million per year. That equals the salary of 70 police officers. With the funding approval, the platform will be launched by 2 phases in 2 years. That is, it will be launched in April 2026. Now on PIX3. The second generation of the system was launched in 2013. It's been used until present. However, the service provider since 2021 has stopped providing support on the software. Therefore, the system cannot be updated, and we cannot receive program patches for the system. The third generation can carry on with the functions and features of the second generation. At the same time, it can help improve work efficiency and data security. If we continue to use a system without software support, we may be exposed to certain risks. In 2019, during black-clad violence, some personal data of police officers and their families were leaked. Therefore, we have to comprehensively enhance data security. PIX3 will help enhance security features. There will also be advanced analytical features with AI functions and application, as well as digitization of new features. There will be a new monitoring system. There will be an endpoint security platform, and there will be a watermark function to enhance data security and information security. The new system will include advanced analytics and decision support solutions. It will make use of AI technology for job matching as well as succession planning. There will also be chatbot assistants to help answer internal inquiries. All kinds of human resources and welfare-related service applications will be digitized. There will also be mobile apps together with the system to enhance speed and efficiency. Maintenance costs will be saved, work efficiency will be enhanced. There will be chatbot to help deal with certain work. The new system will help save some $35 million per year, deducting the recurrent expenditure of $11 million. Every year we'll be able to save some $24 million per year, which equal to the salary of 35 police officers. The new system will, after the contract awarding, be launched in July 2026. Chairman, I hope members will continue to give their support to the development of the above two new systems. I'm happy to take any questions from members. Thank you, Secretary. Including myself, there are 14 members in total requesting to speak. The funding being asked for is quite large, so I will allow time for each member to speak. I'll give each member 4 minutes, questions and answers included. The first 3 members who are going to speak are Mr. Benson Luke, Dr. Kennedy Wong, and Mr. Shanghai Long. Mr. Benson Luke. Chairman, the administration would like to enhance work efficiency, investigative efficiency, and so on through the development of the systems. I am all for that. Also, we are going to see a drop of 8% and 25% respectively for the 2 systems. Again, I support the funding proposal. I have some questions. We're going to spend some $359 million to build the new CDIP, which will replace the system that will help duplicate DVDs. It's going to work like a very big hard disk. I understand that the police will make use of facial recognition technology or AI technology to save time from viewing the video footage. Is that right? That's my first question. Second, for PIX3, Secretary mentioned that during 2019 black-led violence, a lot of police officers and their families had their personal data leaked. It is mentioned that there will be adoption of watermarks to prevent data leakage. Apart from making use of technology, are there new ways, for instance, internal disciplinary action or human resources management to prevent such type of data leakage? Third question. Understand that when the administration procure the systems, it would take into account geopolitical tensions as well as the capacity of service providers to provide maintenance support. Well, yesterday, the Fire Services Department announced that the contractor of their system exposed the system to data leakage risks. How would the administration ensure that the supplier of PIX3 is reliable? Thank you. For the CDIP, well, there is yet to be an AI analytic function. However, we can incorporate at any time AI functions or features into this system. It costs extra money to introduce such features. However, the current system allows us to incorporate AI features. We do hope to include AI functions into the system to help us conduct investigation. This is what we're going to do for the next step. On data leakage during 2019, back then, there was such data leakage because some people abuse the system. some people without authorization viewed other officers' data and they leaked the data. However, there wasn't any attacks on the system. We take care of such issues very seriously. If there are officers leaking other people's information, we take disciplinary action.
The third issue is security. When we develop our computer system, we have to make sure that the service delivery can be sustained. For the PICs 2, the supplier has ceased its service for us. We certainly take into account national security issues and whether we can be provided with a service free of interference from the geopolitical situation. Dr. Kennedy Wong, first of all, I support the police efforts to enhance its IT capacity. The projects will cost billions of dollars, but if they serve very good purposes, we should support them. Here you talk about 5G station, $860 million for the 5G base stations. We know that in the current war between Ukraine and Russia, there are so-called low-altitude satellites, Starlink satellites. And in the mainland, there's the development on 6G. There are two new models of Huawei mobile phones which can be linked with satellite service. Well, I know ISPs, operators on the mainland can provide such services, but not local operators. So can you set aside some of the funding to the linkage with a 6G system, which will be developed by the country, would linking up with 6G more beneficial? And also, it's important that we have a centralized digital image platform. We know that the network in the mainland is well established. They can use the connected systems to identify suspects. In this regard, can there be some collaboration with the mainland? Although we know there are rules pertaining to Hong Kong's law enforcement, but sometimes you know that criminals will try to go to the mainland illegally. So if we have interconnection with the mainland system and our authorities, we will stand to benefit. Well, we are talking about the new generation communication system, but we are not going to provide funding for that now. Today we're mainly talking about the CDIP and PICS3. The system referred to by the member is the subject of an application next year, $5.2 billion. Building base stations, communication system, and the relevant components for the system. Satellite communication or satellite network is still at a very initial stage of development in Hong Kong. Regarding decentralized digital image platform, as I've said, we do not have AI capacities as of now, but it can be added later at an additional cost, so that we can work with the mainland authorities or other law enforcement agencies. But there are obstacles to overcome if we are to do this comprehensively. But for individual cases, we do have dedicated channels to share such data or information with the mainland. Mr. Shang Hailong, well, I have to declare my interest as an employee of a company involved in this development. I very much welcome the move to handle the information we gather with a centralized platform. The photos, the image may constitute very important evidence. How long will you keep such image? 3 months, 6 months? Because the time you keep this image has a lot to do with the cost. And also in the first phase, there's no AI function. You are going to apply for funding in the next phase. So why don't you do it at one go? Because, well, we are talking about phases A to H, or stages A to H, taking us all the way to 2027. Why don't you do it at one go? Things are really difficult for our police officers now, so why don't you aim for achieving all the goals at one go? And well, for this centralized digital image platform, we only keep data with a great evidential value, such as the image recorded with DVDs. And also we have 15 CCTVs under the pilot scheme in Mongkok, and we're going to install more later. The image will be stored first to see if there's anything valuable to us. Otherwise, the data will be erased after 30 days. And if within 30 days we need to find some image or data, say in respect of a robbery case, and we need to store the image for further evidential proceedings. So if there's no need to do this, or if there's a need to do this, then it will be kept indefinitely. As for the AI development to tie in this system, well, we don't need to wait until the whole system is complete in 2026 or 2027 before we consider an add-on function of AI. We'll continue to keep things under review. Maybe very soon after the completion of this project, we can launch another phase for AI. Mr. Edmund Wong. My questions is mainly about the centralized digital image platform. As the Secretary has said, the present mode of operation is outdated. According to some officers, well, some people would record some video clips in respect of traffic violations. And when they report the case to the police, they are asked to record the clip on DVDs. And many of them do not even have a DVD writer on their computer. So how can they do this? So I welcome this move. And also the recurrent cost is $40 million. And the current recurrent cost is $80 million. So we can save some $40 million. My question is the entire $48 million spent on manpower, so we can save the manpower through the implementation of this new platform? And then there's another $170,000 for security safeguards. For a system of $360 million, you only spend $170,000 on security risk assessment. Is that really not in proportion? Because recently we have a spate of information security cases in the government departments. So I hope the Secretary can do more to assure the general public. First of all, on savings. The saving of $88.23 million is mainly about manpower costs because we don't have to buy DVDs, we can save the manpower which is now required to handle images with DVD. And the next issue is security. So we are spending only a little bit of money on security assessment. So we have to understand this platform first. The CDIP is a part of the police data center. It's a cloud service. So we'll use a USB drive by the police, download something, and then upload to the platform. It's a closed loop system, not involving any outside parties. So relatively speaking, it's very secure. So unless we're hacked, it's secure. We have a very strong anti-hacking capacity. We haven't experienced any leakage. The leaks that we have experienced are related to the loss of the relevant information by individual officers. We'll do some audit, some tests to see if there's any unforeseen problems. So this is just about assessing the security of our system. What about the audit? Is it going to be outsourced or is it going to be done internally? Well, we outsource the checking to another party. My feeling about DVDs is the same as Mr. Wong. It's really surprising to me that we're still that DVDs for image. We said that it will be sealed with temper-free envelopes to contain the DVD to ensure the evidential integrity. So how are you going to provide the information or the evidence to the court? Is the court equipped with something to tie in with your system? Have you talked to the judiciary? Are you sure that the systems in the judiciary is compatible with yours? When we have been providing evidence electronically to the court for a long time, such as IT crime, or you use a USB drive, or if necessary, we may need to operate a system to display the relevant evidence in the court. We have make sure that this is widely accepted by the courts. I want to make sure a point. You talk about envelope. I thought you are still using DVDs. Well, with the new platform, there will be no need to use DVD anymore. Mr. Chan Pui-Leung, first of all, I support the establishment of the CDIP and also the PICS-3. I have 3 questions. First of all, the development time frame for the 2 systems is almost in parallel. When you select contractors, can you make sure that you are not going to go for the same contractor? This is just to make sure that we will not be facing problems if the only contractor causes problems or is unable to go on and there will be delays. We need the new platforms because the existing contractor cannot provide software support anymore. In selecting new contractors, can we make sure that the system can be supported by outside or third-party contractors? Can the know-how and technology be transferred to your department so that in the future we won't be faced with a situation that the contractor fails to provide support and then you can still carry on? As for the video format, according to frontline officers, they have on-body cameras to record video. Is the new platform compatible with the existing camera so that we don't need to change these cameras?
Secretary. In considering to which contractor we should award the contract, we have to consider the reliability, the tender price, and whether the contractor has the capability to achieve what we request the contractor to do. However, it doesn't mean that we won't award the contracts to one company or one contractor for developing both systems. However, we will ensure that the contractor won't be able to fail in developing the other system because of accepting the other project. Currently, staff members of our IT department have been helping to maintain the second generation of the PIC system. So we do have the capacity to do so as we award the contracts. Well, in the past, we didn't take into consideration elements of national security. That is, whether we can foresee if the contractors would stop providing the service to us in the middle of the contract. However, as mentioned, if such situation arises, we do have experts within the police force to deal with such problems. Also, no replacement equipment will be needed to respond to the member's last question. Dr. Chow Man Kong, I give my support to the two proposed systems. Some of my friends, they tried to extract the video footage from their dash cameras of the cars, and they were not allowed to submit the video footage to the police by USB. They were asked to store the video on DVDs. So I think the two systems will help save a lot of manpower. On cyber attacks, well, one system is for facilitating police officers' investigation, and the other system deals with human resources matters. So I want to know if the government would step up security functions and as well as strengthen training for police officers to help maintain data security. Secondly, on procurement, would it be possible during the tendering exercise include, for instance, clauses and terms that have to do with national security in the service contracts? Also, can you ensure that contractors can offer post-sale services for a certain period of time so that we won't lose the system support after the system is developed? Thank you. Secretary. The two systems, as mentioned, one will be stored in the cloud system of the police force, and it will work with the data center of the police force. So it will be very safe. We have a very high standard in terms of maintaining data security. We've put in a lot of resources into doing so. Of course, as mentioned by Dr. Chow, we will strengthen training for our staff. A lot of times, data are leaked not because the system is hacked. Sometimes it is because police officers inadvertently bring data out of their restricted scope. So we place a lot of importance into officers' digital literacy. We have an accountability system. We hold officers accountable. If they breach the relevant rules, we take disciplinary actions against such officers. In terms of our design, there will be assessment as well as audit system. There is also a privacy assessment that will be conducted before we officially launch the system. We'll carry out these risk assessments and audits to see if we are capable of coping with any cyber attacks. On procurement, we have already incorporated clauses that have to do with national security into the contracts. For instance, we will ensure whether the contractor would be able to provide certain parts and components as well as relevant services even with geopolitical tensions. In the tender documents, we ask the contractor that they have to provide certain maintenance service for a period of time. These are all included in the document. Dr. Johnny Thank you, Chairman. I give my support to the development of these two new systems. Other members have mentioned about the justifications. I won't repeat them here. I have two questions. The two systems, there are parallel tenderings, and the costs for the two systems dropped by 8% and 25% respectively. With tight budget, I see that the government really cherish the public resources we have, so I appreciate that. I want to know, with the drop of the cost for the two systems, would that affect the quality of the systems? In 2021, a software supplier suspended their support for the system. I want to know if they suspended support on the database or the main system. Are there ways for the government to prevent such incidents from happening? Apart from including clauses that have to do with national security, what are the ways that the government will seek to prevent the recurrence of such situations? Well, last April, members suggested us to incorporate national security related clauses in the tender documents, and we appreciate that. Well, we have looked for RFI on the market to see how much the systems cost, and we put up the project for tender. And we realize that the return prices are often similar to that, so we realize that if we conduct parallel tendering, it would help reduce the cost of the systems. The downside of having RFI is that contractors may, regardless of their situations, bid the project, and they may not be able to deliver the projects in time, and will have to end up ask for more funding. We were recommended by other government departments that we should therefore conduct parallel tendering. On what kind of cost we can save, we're going to save costs on software, manpower, and so on. So the ultimate cost is lower than expected. In 2021, the service provider stopped providing support because the contract had ended. And afterwards, the service provider stopped providing updates to the system and stopped providing maintenance service. Well, we have used such systems for so many years, so our staff from the IT department know how to carry out the maintenance works. However, we are only able to deal with some basic problems or situations. That's why we ask to develop the third generation system. Mr. Michael Lee. Well, we're seeing a fiscal deficit. Well, by conducting the parallel tendering, we're able to save money on the two systems, and the two new systems are going to enhance efficiency of the police force. So I believe most members will give their support to the systems. Well, it is surprising that the police are still using DVDs. It is like how people used to use films many years ago. Well, DVDs may actually cost more. And they are not very environmentally friendly because they will end up being in the landfills. You mentioned that some police officers inadvertently leak data. Is this system going to work in the form of intranet, in which you allow police officers to, for instance, upload data to the platform? My worry is that if you use intranet, if you use internet, it may be hacked by others. If you use intranet, how are you going to monitor the platform? For instance, a few years ago, there was a lot of doxing. Do you have supervisors or officials at high ranking that monitor the usage of the internet? For instance, you need people to access the system through passcode. For instance, will you use 5G technology or quantum encryption to enhance the security of the platform? Thank you. Secretary. It will be in the form of intranet. It is a data center used by the police force, which is stored on a cloud system. For instance, police officers may access certain information from the system and save it on a USB drive. Afterwards, the USB drive will be connected to a machine, and through optical fiber, the information is delivered to our new system. So external parties will not have access to the information stored in the system. We will have high-level data security. A lot of times data leakage happens because of human errors or because of people with ulterior motives. We want to increase awareness for police officers who may inadvertently make mistakes. Well, the new system is different from the DVD system. In the old system, no one knows when you duplicate the DVDs, but for the new system, we can know immediately who have used the platform. There are supervisors that detect any abnormal situations. For instance, a police officer may look for information of a case that is not within his remit. Supervisors will detect such issues. We'll also see if AI technology can help monitor the usage of the platform. Mr. Bill Tang. Thank you, Chairman. The good thing about parallel tendering has been mentioned by other members. I think with Patriots administering Hong Kong, we can really save money with parallel tendering. There are members from different sectors in this council, and they may offer insights to you on how you can further save cost and review the risks of the system. Is there room for you to revise the tender documents even after you've issued the documents? Also, when does the tender document expire? Normally, under the instruction of the Treasury, you have to tell us within how long we have to deal with the funding applications. Well, I told my daughter today what a cassette is, and she was surprised. So we should do away with DVDs. I'm therefore more worried about the second system. We aren't able to upgrade the second generation system, therefore we need to spend extra money to develop a third generation system. It will be completed by 2026. Well, since 2021, the system has not been upgraded. It's been a few years' time now. I'm not an expert here, but I know that without upgrading, there will be risks. For instance, there might be viruses that you are exposing the system to certain risks. How are you going to prevent these risks?
Usually the tenders are valid for 1 year. If we fail to complete it, then the exercise, we have to do it again. Of course, we would incorporate members' views when needed. So it's not just a one-off exercise. We were the so-called invitation for information, and also the RFI exercise, and then we will listen to electoral members' views in a panel meeting, for example, and then we can draw up the tendering document. Well, but of course, people can continue to make comments at any stage, so we don't know exactly when the end is achieved. So what I'm thinking is to do it at one go, or the alternative is to upgrade an outdated system. Now let me turn to PICI CS3. Although we haven't been able to update the software, but our colleagues are maintaining the system and updating the system on our own to ensure that some basic requirements are met, such as leakage problems. But of course, we cannot upgrade the system to incorporate new functions. On perhaps the speed with which we update or upgrade the system will be slower, and also we may not be able to optimize the system further. Dr. Elizabeth Kwok, please switch on the mic for her. Thank you, Chairman. I support the police projects to upgrade its IT system. As members have said, the centralized digital image platform is very much needed because at present they still handle images with DVDs. This is simply not sustainable. Some members have asked about the usefulness of the new platform. If you incorporate AI functions, you can do it much more quickly, and also you can save manpower. The Secretary has said that the AI function can be incorporated at any time do you have a timetable? Because in the coming years, the police is going to install many CCTVs. If you have to check the video footage manually, it will require a lot of manpower. And also for the PICS 3 system is needed now because from 2021, the contractor stopped or ceased to upgrade the system. When did you know that upgrading will no longer be done in 2021? You could have approached us earlier so that you can have the new system earlier, and then we don't have to wait for a few years before the new system is up and running. And you also talk about a new communication system. Do you have a timetable for this? Why don't you do all of these through the parallel tendering exercise? First of all, on AI function, the Commissioner of Police has said that they would like to incorporate this new function as soon as possible. And we should like to incorporate this in the CDIP later. The platform will be operational in 2026 or 27. We hope that by that time we'll be able to do this to some extent, but there are factors to be considered. The system is not going to be cheap. It's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. In 2021, the contract that we had was discontinued with the contractor, but we were able to maintain the system on our own. But then we also considered that we should be able to embark on the second phase and the third phase after that. So there's a room that in the future we can further enhance the system as we go along. How about a new generation of communications system? Well, the timetable is that we are going to seek funding support next year, and then we'll go for tendering. This communication system is much more complicated. We need to build base stations. We need to get the devices and equipment, and also the network is much more complicated. Well, the secretary, the police are suffering from a shortage of manpower, so we can make use of IT, so the frontline officers will find their burden lessened and their workload eased, and then we are going to be able to detect crime more efficiently. Mr. Ma Fengguo, the police want to create this centralized platform to take the place of DVDs in a bid to enhance efficiency and save manpower. Well, this should be supported by us, and I would like to see it completed as soon as possible. In paragraph 6b, we talk about the need and also the cumbersome procedure and to seek clearance, and also to dispose of useless footages. If a department, another unit, wants to access the video footage, is there need to go to this original unit to get approval? If there's no need to do this, would there be a need to incorporate a multi-layered approval mechanism so as to authorize duplication in an organized way and to manage the access rights properly. And also, how are you going to improve efficiency in crime detection and prosecutions through the new platform? At present, the officer in charge of a case may think that the footages for another case might be useful, so there will be the need to submit an application, and then after the communications, the DVDs will be conveyed to the requesting officer for access. Well, the approval is important, but in the future this can be done electronically. Of course, we have to make sure that it should be the officer in charge, that is to say an inspector at least, will be making the request, and then the authority to access the information can be accorded in a systematic way. For example, you can only view it on certain days, and not in your spare time. And also, there will be no need to transport the DVDs to and fro because we have had cases of loss of DVDs during the transport process. And we will also be able to know who has viewed the footage in question and when. You know that officers work on different ships, and it may be difficult to hand over such data in physical form. So the new platform will make sure that it's much more efficient than the existing platform. Mr. Lai Tongguo, I'm glad to learn that this is going to cost much less, $79 million saved. How is it possible? Is it because you have refined or improved your user requirements, or is it because of the tenders that you have received? But with the new platform established, I believe that there will be the need to transfer a lot of information or data, and the DVDs will have the content transferred to a centralized platform. Who would do the transfer? Will the responsible units be doing this on their own, or are you going to collect all these DVDs and ask a contractor to do it for you? You said that the approval process can be very fast. If it can be done around the clock, so are you talking about doing this through a mobile phone? So if I need to do this, I send you an email, and then you can give approval through your mobile phone? Or is it that the officer will have to return to the workstation to give the approval? My understanding is that if you can do this through a mobile phone, it will involve a transmission process of data. Then the security of the transmission between the mobile device and the device in your police stations can be a problem. First of all, the approval mechanism. Usually, basically, the approval has to be given through a police computer terminal. But as a discipline service, we have people on duty all the time. And the officer will have to go back to or the requesting officer will then go to a police station to access the data through a terminal there. At present, we would like to have the officers in charge of the cases involved to transfer the video, image, or footages to the platform. And then the DVDs in question will be destroyed. Have I left out anything, Ms. Lai?
How did you manage to save so much money with parallel tendering? I hope you can brief us on this so that other government departments can learn from you. Well, there were two major reasons. We used the RFI to come up with a preliminary price tag. But we didn't have all the information ready back then. We wanted to know, we aren't sure whether RFI is one of the reasons for us to lower the costs. We want to have contractors propose a price based on the market situation. So the price is generated based on market competition instead of having us putting up a bidding price or a tender price. Ms. Carmen Khan. Secretary mentioned that with parallel tendering, you got a return tender price, and the prices dropped by 8% and 25% respectively for the CDIP system and PIX3 system. Is it a new practice? If it is, well, I give my support to that because it helps save cost. However, you'll still have to wait for funding approval from the Legislative Council to confirm the price with the contractor. Is that right? Because you will still have to finish the remaining tendering procedure. On the PIX2 system, in 2021, the service provider stopped providing service. Did the service provider give a reason why they stopped providing services? Was there ill intention behind? Would this affect their eligibility to take part in this tendering exercise? For instance, if they, for unreasonable reasons, stopped providing services, can we prevent them from participating in the tendering exercise this time around? So we didn't lower the our standards to lower the cost of the price tag. Well, we've got the return tender prices. If we get the approval funding from this council, we'll be able to execute the tender. We won't have to issue another tender. So you've got the return tender price. It depends on whether you got the funding approval from this council to sign the contract with the bidder. Is that right? Yes. Well, to respond to your other question, back in 2021, the service provider, which is a US company, stopped providing services for our PIX2 system. It did not explain why it did not provide services to us anymore. Well, the contract had ended and it was unwilling to provide further services. It did not explain why. Whether this had to do with geopolitics, well, we will take into consideration geopolitical factors in the future when we sign contracts with contractors. Well, it is only reasonable for us not to engage the same contractor next time. Well, all 14 members have already spoken. Do members agree to submit this proposal to the Finance Committee for consideration? Agreed. Okay. Agenda Item 4, Facilitation of Southbound and Northbound Two-Way Flow of Talents. For this item, we have with us Mr. Michael Chuk, Undersecretary for Security, and Ms. Joyce Chan, Principal Assistant Secretary. Members would like to speak on this item, please press the Request to Speak button. I'll ask Mr. Chuk to walk us through the paper first. Afterwards, I'll open the floor to questions. Now, including myself, 7 members have requested to speak. They are Mr. Bill Tang, Mr. Ambrose Lam, Ms. Carmen Khan, Mr. Perry Yu, Mr. Chan Pui Lun, Mr. Ma Fong Kwok, and myself. Please take your time. Undersecretary, ready when you are. Chairman, the Security Bureau will brief members on the SAR government's measures to facilitate the southbound and northbound two-way flow of high-end talents in the GBA. The SAR government has been in close liaison with the relevant mainland authorities. With the existing measures to facilitate talent flow, we strive to have further policy innovation and breakthrough to further deepen the interconnected flow of talents in the GBA. In terms of southbound flow of talents, since 2023, there have been a pilot scheme which facilitates talents to come to Hong Kong for exchange activities. As at the middle of this year, we have 180,000 talents who came to Hong Kong through the scheme. Since yesterday, the relevant exit endorsement arrangement has been expanded to Beijing and Shanghai. This allows further exchange of talents between the mainland and Hong Kong. For business visitors, they can now stay in Hong Kong for 14 days instead of 7 days under the exit endorsement arrangement for business visit. Applicants can make applications in any of the relevant offices across the country, irrespective of their place of household registration or place of residence. This allows talents to easily come to Hong Kong, and this helps promote exchanges. In terms of northbound talent or traveling, foreigners in Hong Kong registered offices, they can apply for multiple entry visas with priority processing. Hong Kong permanent residents of non-Chinese nationality, they may apply for multiple entry visas to the mainland with a maximum validity period of 5 years. As long as foreigners, they work in Hong Kong, they can apply for such multiple entry visas. Since the launch of this arrangement, it's been popular. We've seen a significant increase of applications under the arrangement. As at mid-April this year, about 18,000 applications were approved. We encourage companies and enterprises to come establish operation in Hong Kong with the facilitation measures we have. We want them to take root in the GBA. The SAR government will continue to keep in close communication with the relevant mainland authorities. And on the basis of the existing measures, we will continue to promote interconnectivity or interconnected flow of talents in the GBA. Thank you. 4 minutes for each member, questions and answers included. Mr. Bill Tang. Thank you, Chairman. The SAR government this morning organized a global talent summit which drew wide attention from around the world. So I am particularly concerned about the northbound traveling of people in Hong Kong. As mentioned, this is a unique advantages we enjoy under the one country, two systems. Is it the case that apart from Macau, only SAR government enjoys such convenience? For instance, foreigners in Hong Kong or foreigners employed in Hong Kong, they can enjoy the convenience. I want to know whether there are other countries that enjoy the same privilege. There might be other corporations or enterprises that enjoy such privilege, but I want to know if this is exclusively for the SAR government in Hong Kong or the SAR in Hong Kong. I see that under the northbound scheme, applicants can at the earliest collect their visas in Wan Chai the next day after they have submitted the applications. I know that there is no cap on the number of applications, but is there a cap on the volume that you can process? Also, do you have relevant statistics about the nationalities of foreigners that have their visas approved under the scheme? Undersecretary, there are different exit endorsement or special facilitation measures between countries, but our scheme is different. This is because people of any nationalities, as long as they come to Hong Kong to work or they start their businesses in Hong Kong or they become a resident in Hong Kong, they can enjoy such convenience. Say if you are a Hong Kong resident, you enjoy a 2-year visa. For a permanent resident, you can have a visa with a maximum validity period of 5 years. Sorry, Undersecretary, sorry, Chairman, does the Macau SAR government have this arrangement? As far as I understand, they don't have such arrangement. Is there a cap on the number of applications an applicant can make? As far as I understand, the Chinese Visa Application Service Center or the relevant mainland authorities, they provide special convenience to foreign employees in Hong Kong. There's a special counter that helps process applications from these people. So far, we haven't got any comments saying that they do not have the capacity to process all applications. I believe they will increase manpower through time, but there is a dedicated counter that deals with these applications. On how we promote the arrangement, well, for instance, there is currently a global talent summit that is underway, and also, be it southbound arrangement or northbound arrangement, our office in the mainland have staff from the immigration departments that helps promote the arrangements to mainland residents. We also, through Hong Kong Talent Engage, promote the arrangements. We don't have relevant statistics about nationalities of applicants, but we do know how many visas are of a validity period of 2 years, how many are of 5 years. Mr. Ambrose Lam. I think the two-way flow of talents is going to be the major trend between the mainland and Hong Kong. Do you ask applicants of such visas to be working in a specific sector? This has to do with labor legislation in Hong Kong. For instance, I was told that someone bought an audio system or hi-fi system in Shenzhen, and the person asked staff from Shenzhen to help assemble the parts, and the Shenzhen staff breached the employment ordinance in Hong Kong because that person is not allowed to work here. With the southbound arrangement, would Shenzhen staff or workers be allowed to come to Hong Kong to, for instance, assemble parts. Well, 6 categories of talents will benefit from the arrangement. They include scientific research talents, and such talents include Nobel Prize winners. And also talents with deputy senior titles. We also welcome education talents and healthcare talents. Again, they'll have to have a deputy senior title. They have to be talents in the relevant sectors. We also welcome legal talents, including arbitrators and mediators. We also welcome other talents under the arrangement. They include managerial staff and senior executives of enterprises. The workers that you mentioned, they do not belong to any of these types of talents. And these talents, when they come to Hong Kong, they cannot receive remuneration. However, they are welcomed to come to Hong Kong to take part in trade negotiations, to sign contracts, to take part in summit or conferences, for instance. We have something called the pilot scheme for mainland visitors. These people may or may not require a visa to come to Hong Kong, and under the pilot scheme, they may receive remuneration by completing certain work. For instance, members of an orchestra may come to Hong Kong and they can receive remuneration. For instance, say Hong Kong Sevens was held in Hong Kong, and the referee may be able to come through the pilot scheme and receive remuneration. However, the case mentioned by Mr. Ambrose Lam is not included in this arrangement.
May I confirm this again? We are talking about 6 kinds of talent. They are here for exchange activities, attending seminars, etc. They are not here to provide service, right? Under Secretary, they are allowed entry for designated purposes, signing of contract, tendering, checking of consignments of goods, attending exhibitions or trade fairs, or attending proceedings of civil nature, and also attending short-term exchange sections, and also for the DOJ, there's a scheme for arbitrators. So it depends on whether the activities to be conducted here come within the visa-free, work visa-free arrangement. For arbitrators, they can earn some money, right? They don't need to apply for visa. Arbitrators can come to Hong Kong to participate in arbitral proceedings. He can be an expert witness, a mediator, or an arbitrator, and depending on the format of participation, he can, of course, get a fee. The immigration authorities have now extended the scheme for the 6 kinds of talents to Beijing and Shanghai. They're not here to work in Hong Kong. They're not here to compete with local people for jobs. We have different schemes for other talents. This is a different scheme for business visitors. Within the validity of their endorsed visa, they will be able to come to Hong Kong. Paragraph 5, you talk about 18,300 talents. Are you talking about the total, starting from the start to the end of last year? It said that the Bureau will continue to seek the extension of the scheme to other cities. Do you have a wish list? Which cities will be covered? This is for the southbound scheme. I'm also concerned with the northbound scheme, which I consider a very good scheme. And I understand this is unique for Hong Kong. We're in a unique position to offer this. We're Invest Hong Kong and the CDB. Will they work with the immigration department to give more publicity? Because this is a very good policy to attract enterprises to Hong Kong. They may have their headquarters in the Middle East, but then they may want to come to Hong Kong and hire non-Chinese staff, and then this scheme will allow them to visit the mainland. Undersecretary, for the southbound scheme, 18,300 participants. It covers the period from the start of the scheme in 2023 to this year. And most of them are coming from the healthcare, education, and cultural and arts. And for the northbound, we have some outstanding tenants who are given 5 years visa, multi-entry visa with 5 years validity. I've learned that the Shanghai just issued the first southbound scheme visa. There are many regional leading cities in different areas. But since the discussion is an ongoing process, we might as well wait until things have firmed up before we make some announcements. Well, I know that we are going to have a 2-day global talent summit organized in Hong Kong. And through this function, we can inform the world that Hong Kong is a hub for talents, so that we can leverage on our advantages as a unique place with the sound legal system and the one country, two system political system. As the Deputy Secretary said, even if they don't want to set up a regional headquarters in Hong Kong, they may still consider setting up an office here for further reaching out to the Greater Bay Area. We hope that we are going to focus on the Greater China area and the GBA's cities. Mr. Yu Parlell, I'm pleased to know that the two-way southbound and northbound flow of talents will be further facilitated. And also the improvement to the exit multiple entry visas and exit endorsement. This would facilitate the attractiveness of Hong Kong for talents, and also the two-way travel of business people. And we are going to attract more business visitors. Although they cannot come here to work, they may take the opportunity to visit Hong Kong as a tourist. Well, it may be even be better than the relaxed traveler schemes, IVS schemes. I'm especially interested in the northbound arrangement. Well, actually, Guangdong has implemented facilitation entry scheme since 2000, and now we want to facilitate the visitors through a multi-destination itinerary for them. We have and China has implemented two-way visa-free or visa granted on after landing arrangement with many countries. I don't know whether the Bureau has considered extending this around the clock visa applications service. In the past, they have to come and as tour groups, so that would somehow ensure the integrity of the visa system. Whether we are talking about visa-free or visa facilitations, we're really talking about visitors coming as tour groups, and they would come to Hong Kong as a group and then going back as a group. And there are also the transit visas or facilitation for certain entry points, boundary crossing points. And there are one-way or two-way visa-free arrangement with some countries, depending on the communication between China and the other countries. And the validity period, it can be from 14 days or up to 60 days. For the northbound and southbound flow of tenants, we would first of all like to ensure that Hong Kong residents, permanent residents or not, will be able to make use of the facilitation irrespective of their nationality. As for the facilitation, it's been implemented for the tour groups going to Shantou. And we will talk to the trade to see whether we should go for further development in some other areas. I think I have a similar experience with Mr. Yu Pak Leung. We have this so-called mega event tourism that we want to promote. And according to trade, when they organize major financial forums or events, they would not just facilitate the entry of these people to such events in Hong Kong, and they would also arrange for these people to visit the mainland. In the past, the procedures is rather cumbersome and time-consuming. If the host in Hong Kong can produce some documentary proof that these people are here for a conference or seminar, and then they would like to go to the Greater Bay Area to attend other events, and even if visa-free arrangement cannot be made, can there be a dedicated fast-track channel for them to apply for visa? And that would quickly enhance our exhibition and conference tourism. As for the pilot scheme, up to December 2023, for a certain number of sectors, the response is not very good. For example, innovation, there's no beneficiary, no benefited tenant, creative industries, and only two talents from the finance sector were benefited. Can I be told of the reasons for that? Why is the receptions a bit unsatisfactory? First of all, Hong Kong is well known for conference and exhibition events. If the host would like to arrange the relevant participants to go on a visit. This will be something that we'd like to welcome. As for the 144 cross-boundary visa facilitation, this is a scheme for all nationalities, as long as they participate in a tour group in Guangdong. The limitation is that they should enter Guangdong, the 9 cities in Guangdong from Macau or Hong Kong. But if they want to go to some other cities beyond the Greater Bay Area, this is not yet possible. We'll continue to work on it for further development.
For the short-term pilot scheme, it is launched with the relevant policy bureau in the government departments. For instance, the Health Bureau may organize an exchange activity, and it invites participants to come join, and the participants will have to hold relevant documents to receive remuneration. Currently, under the short-term pilot scheme, applicants do not have to apply for visas or entry permits to join the scheme. So we will talk to the creative industries and the aviation sector to see how we can further promote the pilot scheme. Mr. Ma Fong Kwok, since last November, it was announced by Hong Kong that foreign people in Hong Kong registered companies, they can apply for multiple entry visits. Well, our goal is to develop 8 centers in Hong Kong. So we welcome people to join our MITES activities and training activities. Many foreigners may join these events. They may not be members of Hong Kong registered companies. How can they easily travel to the mainland for these events? The reply I got previously from the administration is that it may expand the scheme. I want to know if there is any progress. Just now there was mentioned about creative industries, arts and culture, and so on. How can we help people from these sectors to develop their business through the scheme? We have to stick to the immigration laws of the mainland. For the northbound arrangement, Hong Kong as an SAR of our country, we have the privilege that we can allow foreigners in Hong Kong to travel to the mainland with convenience. Say a foreigner who comes to Hong Kong as a visitor and he or she wants to travel to the mainland, then he or she will have to stick to the immigration laws of our country. What if the person is a Hong Kong resident? Then that person may apply for multiple entry visas under the northbound arrangement. Well, of course, the person becomes a Hong Kong resident because he may have established a business or company in Hong Kong. Mr. Lai Tong Kwok, the National Immigration Administration announced some facilitation measures, and these measures come in a timely manner. These measures allow mainland talents to come for business trips in Hong Kong very easily, and this helps boost our revenue in tourism. I hope the SAR government can seize this opportunity. The administration just now mentioned that your offices in the mainland are working on publicity. I hope you can do more. I see that today someone from Shanghai got the visa to Hong Kong in just half an hour's time. Currently, we're seeing frequent travels of mainland residents between Hong Kong and the mainland. So the facilitation measures are very helpful. Foreigners may come to Hong Kong to establish companies and take up employment. They are allowed to apply for multiple entry visas. The administration mentioned that in half a year's time, we got 18,000 some applications. However, we still have to step up publicity efforts. We have to attract business and capital, and such facilitation measure can be a selling point for us. The Undersecretary mentioned that we have the Global Talent Summit today, so I searched online to see what the Hong Kong Talent Engage does. Well, there's no mention about what the Hong Kong Talent Engage does. There is no mention that we have such facilitation measure for people who want to travel to the mainland or for those who want to come to Hong Kong. I hope the Undersecretary can talk to the relevant staff and promote on the website that we have such a measure. I have another point to make. Hong Kong residents of non-Chinese nationality, they may apply for visas with the validity period of 2 years. They hold foreign passports. When they go through boundary control points, they have to use the lane dedicated to foreigners. Unlike we locals, we can quickly pass through the border checkpoints in just a few minutes. Perhaps, Undersecretary, you may talk to the relevant mainland authorities. For Hong Kong residents with multiple entry visas to the mainland, are there ways to allow them to conveniently pass through the border checkpoints? If you can do so, you will be able to provide more convenience to these foreigners in Hong Kong so that they can experience how convenient it is to travel between the mainland and Hong Kong, and foreigners who are currently not in Hong Kong may be attracted to come. Undersecretary, apart from our offices in the mainland, our ETOs help promote such facilitation measures. As for the question about the website of Hong Kong Talent Engage, I'll talk to the Labour and Welfare Bureau to see whether they can improve the content of the website. Currently, Hong Kong permanent residents of Chinese nationality are given home return permits, and the permits allow them to travel easily to the mainland. We will talk to the relevant mainland authorities to see if we can provide similar convenience to Hong Kong residents of non-Chinese nationality. Dr. Johnny Ng. Thank you, Chairman. I would like to thank the country for relaxing the arrangements, and the SAR government has been working hard to implement the northbound and southbound arrangements to facilitate two-way flow of talents. It's been announced that facilitation measures are rolled out for foreigners in Hong Kong registered companies. I want to know if the SAR government can further relax such facilitation measures for foreigners to attract more businesses and enterprises to come to Hong Kong. I understand that we'll have to follow the immigration laws in the mainland. However, currently the application procedures are quite cumbersome. If the application can be simplified, this will give foreigners the impression that we are implementing a smart government. Currently, 18,000 applicants have been approved under the arrangement. 1,100 of them are applicants who are foreigners working for Hong Kong registered companies, and their applications are given priority in terms of processing. We are now relaxing the arrangement for Hong Kong residents of non-Chinese nationality. So for foreigners who come to Hong Kong just for a visit or for a business trip and they're not Hong Kong permanent residents, they currently do not enjoy the benefits under the northbound arrangement. We have, however, the 144-hour convenient visa to Guangdong province, for instance. Currently, business visitors, after the relaxation of the arrangement, they can stay in Hong Kong for 14 days and instead of 7 days, and this would give them more flexibility if they want, if they have different business dealings in Hong Kong. It's now my turn. I have a question for the Undersecretary. Since last year, we have the multiple visa scheme for foreigners. For foreigners who work for Hong Kong registered companies, they can apply for the multiple entry visas. Compared to the 144-hour convenient visa to Guangdong province scheme, the multiple entry visa scheme is much more convenient for foreigners. Can we further review the 144-hour convenient visa policy? Can we further relax the relevant arrangement under that particular visa scheme? That's my first question. Second, in the future, we're going to develop the Northern Metropolis, and the positioning of the Northern Metropolis is that there will be life and health science, there will be high-end talents working there. So there may be mainland talents coming to Hong Kong and work at the Northern Metropolis, or they come for a business purpose. So we should further relax the facilitation measures we have. If overseas talents, they can be given convenience to travel to the Greater Bay Area, that would help attract them to come. For non-Hong Kong residents, I wonder if they can travel freely within the Greater Bay Area. Can we do away with the multiple entry visa requirements for these foreigners or overseas talents? Currently, the northbound scheme and the 144-hour visa arrangement are different. For the northbound arrangement, the applicants can travel around the country after they get the visa. But for the 144-hour visa scheme, applicants may only travel to the Guangdong province. I agree that we need talents traveling southward, and we also need talents going to the mainland. In different occasions, we have reported to people that we are going to implement contactless clearance arrangements so that mainland talents can come to Hong Kong to work and then return to the mainland for after they finish work every day. For foreigners with multiple entry visa, they are currently holding a foreign passport. If they are Hong Kong permanent residents with Hong Kong ID card, can we give them something like the home return permit so that they can use the e-channel? If they can use the e-channel, it would shorten their time to complete the clearance procedure. We are in talks with the mainland authorities about this. The home return permit can be used in different border checkpoints. So we have to think about it before we relax the arrangement. Well, no other members would like to speak on this item. Now we come to agenda item 5, any other business. There being no further business, meeting adjourned. Thank you.